Forgot my sign. Welcome to KO Bets. My name is Bill. On this show, we discuss betting strategies for upcoming UFC events. Tomorrow, we've got UFC Fight Night, Emmett taking on Topuria. For today's agenda, we're going to talk. We're going to recap last week's UFC fight. Then we're going to talk about this week's UFC fight. And then we're going to go on Twitter and try and avoid getting in trouble. But we're going to go on there. My timeline's just filled with treasonous activity. Anyways. I don't think we had a great week last week, but it definitely wasn't amazing. Sorry, I don't think we had a bad week, but it wasn't amazing. I took Vettori, Armin, took Leroy Duncan, Pat Sabatini looked impressive. Manuel Torres against Nicholas Mata, that ended quick inside the distance. Nicholas Dalby looked really good. We had him. Alessandro Acosta looked good. Kung Ho Kang. I didn't watch some of these fights because I was on a bachelor party. I think I don't know when I picked it up, to be honest. I think it was at this Jimmy Fleck fight. That's when I picked it up, but yeah, Zach Pauga with the loss. Oh yeah, the Ronnie Lawrence one. I saw a replay of that. That was interesting. The ref said he tapped. He didn't think he did, but that was definitely an interesting one. Good fight card. Yeah, was really surprised just to see Jared Cannonier, dominate in the way he did against Marvin Vettori. Pretty impressive, I thought. And Marvin is so tough. He is so tough. Some of those shots would have put away a lot of people, I think. All right, let's go over UFC Fight Night. Emmett against Topuria. This is a crazy card. There's a lot of recognizable names. It's like a lot of Dana White Contender Series fighters. Some fighters coming off of impressive debuts. A couple of people making their debut. Just a lot of I think action is going to be on this card. A lot of violence. First fight we've got is Cody. Sorry about that. I got the cat wants to come in. So the first fight we got is Cody Brundage. Oops, my thing's not in the right place. Something's going on. Oh, there we go. All right. First fight, Cody Brundage taking on Cedric. Is it Cedric? Sorry. Got a little cough going. versus Cedriques Dumas. Cedriques Dumas had an impressive Dana White Contender Series performance, got a submission victory on there, but then he got submitted in his debut, didn't look very good. Kind of looking at his fight experience, he's got shaky competition prior to his time in the UFC. So I don't like that about him. Jesus. Get your paw off me. Dang. You cat? What are you doing? Alright. On top of all that shit, Cody Brundage, he's gonna be Cedriques. Maybe not his biggest test, but he's gonna be a big test for him. Fremd was probably, arguably his biggest test. Cody Brundage is gonna be a tough fight, I think, though, for Cedriques Dumas. Brundage is gonna go for takedowns. Dumas is prone to getting taken down. On top of that, Brundage hits really hard. I think Brundage's issue is he has really poor poor cardio. And then I think Cedriques Dumas is just not durable to really go long in fights. So I kind of like the finish in this fight, but I'm going to go with Cody Brundage. And I'm not sure how he's going to do it, but I would say arguably submission. But Cedriques Dumas does have really good kicking. He supposedly is a really good grappler, but I'm going to go with Brundage. Brundage is the... One moment. He is the favorite at minus 165. Dumas is the underdog at plus 140. Oddsmakers agree that this will not go the distance, right? Where is that? Well, they agree because the over-under's at 1.5. So there you see it. It's minus 450 for under 2.5. I'm gonna throw in another cough drop, a soothing one. That's what I need. Let's just marinate for a second. Some AMSR. Alright. Under 2.5 is minus 450. I like the under. I think that's the smarter bet. I don't think minus 450 for under 2.5 is worth it, but I do think it ends inside the distance. And I would say Brundage has probably got about 2.5 rounds of juice in him. So maybe... Damn, they won't let a... Under's only plus 110. Yeah, I don't know if I'd chase that. I do think... Dumas, if he's kicking Brundage, he could probably hurt him, and Brundage just gets tired then. And we've seen him get put away a couple of times. So next fight is Jamal Emmers taking on Jack Jenkins. Um, Jack Jenkins, I like him a lot as a fighter. I like Jack Jenkins a lot as a fighter. Jamal Emmers is a grappler. He is on a 1-fight win streak, 2-2 in the UFC. Jack Jenkins, he's 1-0 in the UFC. The dude has crazy leg kicks. He is a really good grappler. Good striker. Just seems like a good all-around fighter, who I think's faced a couple of really durable guys his last 2 fights, because he was beating them up pretty good, I thought. I mean, Jamal Emmers right now is a -200 favorite. Am I reading that right? And I think I kind of like Jack Jenkins. I like his output. I think that wrestling-wise, if that's what, I don't know, those leg kicks are just brutal. Just watch a few of them. He just continuously throws them, and he throws them really hard. Yeah, maybe he can't wrestle with Jamal Emmers, but I don't know if Jamal Emmers is necessarily going to be taking him down and controlling him on the mat. So I think this fight could play out standing up on the feet, and Jack Jenkins is just brutal with his leg kicks. Really, really brutal. I think he's got some KO leg kicks, and I like him kind of in this matchup. I think Emmers is probably the more experienced guy. Might be a little more technical. Might have a grappling advantage. I don't know. But I do think Jack Jenkins can win this fight, and he is a pretty decent underdog. It looks like at +175. I'm gonna say the fight does go the distance, simply because that's what we've seen from Jack Jenkins in his 2 wins, is it does go the distance, but he clearly does win the fights. Yes is at -165. I'm not going to catch them all. St. Pokemon. Trevor Peak taking on Chippe Mariscal. Why do I have Jose written down? Anyways, Trevor Peak, he's 8-0 professionally, 1-0 in the UFC. Had a KO on the Contender Series. Had a KO on the Contender Series after being hurt. Seems really durable, and then he had a round 1 KO in his debut. Is just a maniac, and so is Mariscal. This fight has car crash written all over it. Round 1, method of victory. It's just going to be, I think, 2 violent and aggressive fighters going at it with bad intentions. I like Trevor Peak. He is a little bit of a favorite. Odds makers say this is not going the distance. The under 1.5 is at -185. Kind of like that line. As far as winning method, The KO itself's minus 330. It's kind of crazy. But I like Trevor Peek. I like him to win probably round 1 KO would be the bet, in my opinion. Come on. Next fight we've got is Zhalgas Zhumagulov taking on Joshua Van. Zhalgas is 1-5 in the UFC, but he's better than his record indicates, right? He's put on some very good performances, arguably has won fights that have gone the other way in decisions. You know, he could be closer to like 3-3. So I mean, he's a good fighter. That's what I'll say about him. I like his output. I like his grappling ability, especially in this fight. And I like his experience, especially in this fight where he's taken on Joshua Van, who's making his debut. He's 21 years old. He's got a really good stand-up approach, but I don't think he's going to have much success going out there against a fighter like Zhalgas Zhumagulov and his I mean, it's not good, right? Losing 5 fights in the UFC, 5 out of 6 fights. But I do think he's better than his record indicates. He looks like he throws hard, but he kind of has pillow hands, I think, is what I see in a lot of his fights. But he is active. He should be able to get takedowns here. Hopefully the judges don't screw him. He's rocking the new hairstyle, so maybe that gets him some brownie points with the judges. We'll see. I think Zhalgas Zhumagulov wins this. Odds makers do not, or they do think this will go the distance. I'd probably have to agree, just because Zhalgas is a decision machine. Minus 200 for Zhalgas. The next fight we've got is Tabitha Ricci taking on Jillian Robertson. Tabitha Ricci is on a 3-fight win streak. She's got good grappling, good judo. She's taking on Jillian Robertson, who's on a 2-fight win streak. Also very good jiu-jitsu. I think stand-up wise, Tabitha Ricci is going to hold an advantage. It's going to be interesting to see who is the better grappler, like the stronger individual. But I do think this fight favors Tabitha Ricci, providing like, I don't think it needs to stay standing. I think Tabitha Ricci position, obviously, like, she can't be fighting off of her back in a grappling matchup. So I think it's just interesting, like, who's going to be the stronger fighter in this fight. And I think I'm going to roll with Tabitha Ricci just as, like, the better overall fighter. And I'm going to say she's able to win enough grappling exchanges and stand-up exchanges to take probably a decision in this fight. Jillian Robertson does have like 9 submission victories, right? And Tabitha has a couple, maybe 2 or 3 on her resume too. I just I think it's going to be a decision. I think there's going to be top control, takedowns, and output on the feet are going to be the scores. And I like Tabitha Ricci as the just more well-rounded fighter. in this matchup. Mateus Rebecki taking on Loik Radzahabov. I really like Mateus Rebecki. I think he's entertaining. He had an okay... he was dominant on the Contender Series, but he was, wrestling like a maniac. And then the last fight, I forget who it was against, but he kind of didn't have as much success grappling, and had to show a lot on the feet. Just because he had to earn it a little bit more, and he was a maniac on the feet. He was throwing shit hard. And, he was throwing shit hard for, all 3 rounds. He doesn't get the finish, but I kind of like this guy, Mateus Rebecki. He's taking on Loik, who... He's 1-0 in the UFC. He had a... he's basically a wrestle fucker. He takes down his opponents repeatedly. I think both of these guys kind of have cardio issues as far as... and I think it's just an attribute of... Sorry, not an attribute. A... how should I put it? A... result of the manner in which they fight. They just are balls to the wall. Radzhabov with the grappling from what we've seen, and then Rebecki from the grappling and the stand-up approach. There's really no keeping this guy in check. He's kind of fucking nuts, and I'm into it. I like Mateus Rebecki in this fight. I think Radzhabov, if he maybe he can dominate 2 rounds wrestling, but I think Rebecki, we've seen enough from him to understand he is a really good grappler in his own right. And I think he just throws really hard as well. And I think if the grappling exchanges tire both guys out, I was really liking how Mateus Rebecki was still throwing really, really hard in his last fight. So I'm going to go with Mateus Rebecki. I think he can put away this dude, but I think it would probably be late. Rebecki is the slight favorite. Will the fight go the distance? The odds makers say yes. So I see the Rebecki KO. I know what I'm inclined to take just because he's so fucking crazy. And it'd be so funny to just throw a little bit on that at plus 2,000. Oh. Maybe the 2 or 3. Oh, here we go. I'll do 1. Because that'll help me with units. 1 to get back 12, 1 to get back 21. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, I'm going to go with Rebecki, and I think he does it with a late round KO. That's what I'm feeling. I just think Radzhabov gets tired, he gets tired too, but he's just going to be throwing these haymakers, and one of them is going to connect. Randy Brown against Wellington Turman. Randy Brown is currently on a 1-fight losing streak, lost to Jack Maddalena. Is a great striker. He's taking on Wellington Turman, who is a very good jiu-jitsu artist. So I think stylistically we've got a grappler against a striker in this fight. Turman is going down in weight, but it looks like Brown still possesses a pretty sizable reach advantage, and on top of that, he's a very good stand-up artist, and he knows what he's doing. That I will say, I don't think the takedown defense is like that amazing from Randy Brown, but at the same time, I don't know if Turman's really a guy who can take down a fighter like Randy Brown. I kind of like Randy Brown just to piece up Turman in this fight and just punch him to a pulp. I don't know. I'm going to say a KO. So Brundage was a finish. Jenkins was a finish. Peak was a finish. Zalgas, I said no. Ricci, I said no. Rebecca, yes. Randy Brown, yes. Minus 240 odds for Randy Brown as the favorite. Fight to go the distance. Odds makers say no at minus 175. I kind of like that Randy Brown KO method of victory at plus 175. Don't know if I'm going to go chasing that. But I do kind of like Randy Brown as a... Gosh, I don't want to be drawn in by like just the odds alone, but I like him potentially as like a round robin bet, maybe a parlay bet. I think that, yeah, maybe a parlay piece for Randy Brown. Not sure if I'm going to lay money on him 240 by himself. Neil Magny taking on Phil Rowe. Neil Magny, he is on a 1-fight losing streak, just coming off the loss to Gilbert Burns. Philip Rowe, he's on a 3-fight win streak. Philip Rowe, really, really good striker, good boxer. And then Neil Magny is just a really experienced, good fighter, good Muay Thai. He's a much better grappler than Philip Rowe. I think he should explore taking this fight to the mat, especially early. Phil Rowe was in a crazy fight, his last fight, but he did get kind of tired at certain points, does score the late KO in that fight, but definitely looked a little fatigued, and I think if Neil Magny can mix in the takedowns early, that would be a good recipe for success against Phil Rowe, and potentially could search out some sort of submission method of victory. Or I think, he's just in a lot of decisions, so I think it could be a decision as well. I'm turning into the screen. Anyways, yeah, I like Neil Magny and his experience in this fight. I don't know if I'm gonna bet on this. Odds makers do think it's gonna go the distance, but I mean, Phil Rowe, that KO is kind of interesting. That would kind of be my hesitance, is like if Phil Rowe does establish his boxing super early and is able to hurt Neil Magny, and Neil Magny isn't going for takedowns, so I don't know. I'm going to roll with Neil Magny in that fight, probably a decision. Yeah, probably some sort of decision. The next fight is Brendan Allen taking on Bruno Silva. I am I'm a fan of Brendan Allen. He is quietly putting together just like an insane resume. Where he had he's had two KO losses. One was Chris Curtis, one was Strickland. And then outside of that, in his last 15, he's got 13 wins. On top of that, 17 out of 21 of his victories have come inside the distance. So the dude's super entertaining. He's got 12 career submissions. He's on a 4-fight win streak with 3 sub wins. He's taking on Bruno Silva, who's on a 1-fight win streak, possesses huge power. Like, kind of got caught up against Alex Pereira. Didn't really have the same normal output. Then he took he's only 2 fights removed from a bad submission loss versus Mearshart. Like, I kind of think Brendan Allen, providing he avoids that early kill shot of Bruno Silva, as soon as he's able to get a hold of him and get the fight to the ground, I think he's going to submit Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva has 6 submission losses. He's got 20 KO victories. I think it's either going to be Bruno Silva knocking out Brendan Allen or Brendan Allen putting away Bruno Silva inside the distance. And I'm going to roll with Brendan Allen, who's just been really, really impressive. Not as of late, you know what I mean. Just consistently for a while has been really, really good and really, really entertaining as a fighter. Always in entertaining fights. So we've got Brendan Allen as the slight favorite. Odds makers agree this is not going to go the distance. See, I feel like that's kind of a steal of a line. As like a parlay line at only minus 250. I thought that would be like, I don't know. That just seems mispriced. Like closer to minus 4 or something like that. Where I would be like, But that is like, I could parlay that. Bruno Silva KO plus 300. Brendan Allen submission plus 175. Odds makers kind of agree with what I think is going to happen, which is just the submission for Brendan Allen. Beans with the kitty. He just wants to hang out. David Onama is taking on Gabriel Santos. David Onama is on a 1-fight losing streak. He just lost to Nate Landwehr. Gabriel Santos, he's also on a 1-fight lose streak. Just lost to Lerone Murphy. Arguably beat him. Looked pretty good in that fight. Is just kind of a maniac with his output and pressure. Good grappler, kicks, punches is what we saw out of him in his debut. Aggressive. And then David Onama, he's very good as well. He's been in a lot of wars. Seems pretty well-rounded. I don't know. This one's like, I think it's closer than the line indicates here. Like David Onama's at plus 185, it's saying here on UFC.com. And Gabriel Santos is minus 215. And Gabriel Santos did look like really good in his last fight. Gosh, I kind of want to look at the losses for both of those guys and see. So Santos, it was just that Lerone Murphy. Loss. And Onama, he got kicked. Oh, it was majority decision And so it's been 2 decisions for him. Gosh, I don't know. I kind of feel like just picking. I had Santos highlighted. I kind of just feel like picking Onama. So I'm going to switch the underdog. We'll get our second underdog pick in tonight to win this. Go out there and just be really good, a dog, and match Gabriel Santos in a war. So I'm gonna go with David Onama in this fight. Onama is the underdog at plus 185. Santos is at minus 215. Oddsmakers don't like this to go the distance. I'm not so sure. I think it could be just an absolute war in a decision. David Onama does have some cardio issues that we've kind of seen in fights. But that was like Nate Landwehr, which, stylistically, are we getting that same kind of fighter here? I mean, Santos pushes an insane pace. I think if Onama is getting tired in this fight, that's going to be trouble for him. That's going to be trouble. So, I'm rolling with the underdog pick, but now I'm psyching myself out of it. Definitely a fight I'm going to avoid. The next fight we've got is Austin Lane taking on Justin. I think Austin Lane is he an NFL guy? Or I don't know. He's got really good measurables. In my opinion, he is a tad bit thin. He's going into this fight against Justin Tafa, who's just a tank. This is going to be a car crash, right? You got Austin Lane, 11 out of 12 wins via KO. And you got Justin Tafa with 6 out of 6 wins via KO. Lane does have 3 KO losses. I think Lane should definitely not get into an exchange that looks like he could get hit with that kill shot from Tafa. Tafa does not have the best output. Yeah, I kind of feel like Austin Lane and his style of fighting, was he on? Yeah, he was on Dana White Contender Series. If he's just gonna sit on the outside, eventually the cage could get cut off for him, and that's where I think Justin Tafa finds it pretty early, and if he doesn't, I think Lane does. So I think this is probably going to be a finish. I'm going to roll with Tafa to find that finishing shot. But I mean, Lane could be the minute winner. Just until he gets caught. So we've got, Tafa at a slight favorite, minus 190. I shouldn't say slight. Oddsmakers agree there's no way this is going the distance. They like the KO for both fighters in this matchup. Maybe we go with the Austin Lane decision to throw him off. When they zig, we zag. No. I like the finish for Justin Tafa. Probably something early. The next fight we've got is Amanda Ribas taking on Macy Barber. Amanda Ribas is on a 1-fight win streak. Macy Barber's on a 4-fight win streak. I kind of think Macy Barber's gotten some favorable decisions in her most recent fights. And she's taking on Amanda Ribas, who's not her toughest, not necessarily her toughest test yet, because she's faced Grasso before, but is definitely a tougher opponent than what she's faced in this 4-fight win streak. I kind of like Ribas to be the better. Like the better, more technical fighter, maybe even have better output, but Macy Barber just seems to win. I'm going to roll with Amanda Ribas in this fight. Probably going to stay away from it, though. Amanda Ribas is minus 190. I think this one goes the distance. Odds makers agree. And then I think we get the Ribas via decision. And then the final fight, we've got Josh Emmett taking on Ilia Topuria. Josh Emmett is coming off the loss to Yair Rodriguez. Prior to that, he was on a 5-fight win streak. I didn't think he won versus Calvin Kattar, but he got the victory there. Went on to face Yair, gets submitted in like one of the first 2 rounds by Yair. And now he's going in there and he's fighting a really, really talented fighter in Ilia Topuria, who's just seems like an absolute problem. There was the insane KO against Jai Herbert we all saw, and then he goes out there against Bryce Mitchell. And did he submit Bryce Mitchell? He fucked him up, that's for sure. Yeah, second round submission really was hurting Bryce Mitchell, it seemed like. Topuria is a pretty dangerous fighter is what it seems like. And then just seeing that submission loss versus Yair Rodriguez, who's slick and really, really good, it has me a little worried about Josh Emmett and what he's going to be able to do in this fight. I do like his boxing. I do think he himself possesses a lot of power. I just think Ilia might be more well-rounded in this fight, and I like him to win here, and I think I like someone to hurt the other fighter, so I like something inside the distance. Probably a submission for Ilia Topuria would be my pick. Topuria is the heavy favorite at minus 365, which this is, again, it's he's climbing the ranks, right? It's okay to say this will be a tough test for him, as tough as yet, but odds makers do not like this to go the distance. Oh, I gotta close down the poll. Second. We did an over-under as the poll, over and under 2.5 rounds, because that's what the over-under is on this fight card. I kind of like the under, but I don't think I'm gonna bet that. 2.5. I don't know. I'd almost be inclined to look over, but yeah, it truly is a crazy. It's a crazy fight. Decision only. They're basically a pick'em. So you get your money back if there is a finish. I mean, I do like Ilya Topuria. I do think he takes down Josh Emmett and probably wins that way. 1.5's a pick'em? Man. I feel like we've just seen so many 5-round decisions, but the last fight was a bad look for Emmett. So I think, yeah, Topuria gets maybe that first or second round sub. What do the odds makers like? They like the sub or KO. Even odds for Ilya. I'm gonna roll with Ilya in this fight. Who's Wagner? So there's a mercenary group, Wagner, accused Russia of bombing its military sites in Ukraine. Is this like a privatized military corporation that's going to war with Russia? Prigozhin coup organized by him. They're mercenaries. What is going on? I mean, we'll see. Ali De La Cruz, Moscow. Don Lemon shouldn't be a pussy. He should do a show on Twitter. I think he should do it. I watched a few of Chris Tucker's ones, and they're fun. I mean, it's fun. Let's see. The fuck is going on? Oh, Musk versus Zuck. I don't really want that to be a thing. Musk versus Zuck. I just don't want that to be a thing. Not happening. Oh, so did the Chicago Bulls do something? They injected some life into a sleepy draft Thursday by making a trade. A pair of future second round picks. 6'8" Phillips. Julian Phillips. 7-foot wingspan, 43-inch vertical. The highest of all attendees. $19. He can step in and defend now. Not a good shooter, it looks like. Yeah, they gotta shoot more threes. We just gotta... I feel like we gotta get rid of DeMar. Is what we gotta do. So, yeah, I mean, Ball's done. Lonzo Ball is done. It's a bummer, but it's the way it is. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Enjoy the nice weather if it's nice where you're at. If it's not, just enjoy some time off or enjoy whatever you're doing. I will see everyone. When's our next fight? Oh, next week. Yeah, I thought it was in July and it's July 1st. So, yeah, next week I'll see ya. For Strickland against Magomedov, which is kind of a crazy main event. Michael Morales is really good. Kevin Lee returns. He's fighting Renat. Alright, kind of a fun card. Alright. Before I sign off, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support tremendously. Have a great weekend. I will talk to you all next week.